All right, could we stand for a pledge to the flag? Katie, would you do the honors, please?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for our deceased members and the tragedies out west. Thank you. Okay. All right. Oh, geez, sorry about that. Copy of the bill. So I can call Johnson and then
Okay,
I'll look at I'll ask him to send the contract, I'll look at the contract. If it's paid, if we have to pay it, I'll call you and let
I'll
you know
just
to
drop it
pay
in the mail, sure.
We started the meeting. Okay. Okay, so, first item, do we have any correspondence? Christine, I don't know if she's here. Did she mention anything to you about
No.
correspondence? Okay, thanks.
Well, I just, either yes or no, the response to Andy Metz's email, or is it a yes or a no? He was here today.
Oh, okay. I sent you a note, I think, who was it?
You sent us
some-
all,
I sent everybody a note,
Right.
a reply on that. I replied to you. Some of the things you said were right on target. I'm not sure he deserves a reply because of the tone of his letter. This is not unusual, and I think we can reply. I have no problem if we do, but my comments to the board were in my reply. So we can take that up and discuss it if you want.
well, I think we've taken enough time, so just, are we gonna respond or not? Because
No,
are
it's
we
a-
gonna pick and choose who we respond to?
It's-
But I think,
My feeling, I'm sorry to interrupt, go ahead.
I think everybody deserves a response. I mean, this is a public board, and I think, depending on who the person is, personality, whether they write a nice note or a not so nice one, everybody deserves the decency at least of
We-
a response.
The secretary did, as I recall, communicate to him that we received his letter
Correct.
in a very you're right or you're wrong, non-judgmental way. So we did reply that his letter has been received.
Okay,
Okay, so we can continue and reply further with points that you brought out, very nice points. I have no problem if we do that, but I mean, there was one thing that was said in there that was culpable, and I don't, culpable.
well, I think we should respond and just point to the information is up on the website with regard to financial questions.
Yeah.
Those are
Those are
questions you
perfect.
must answer.
Well, we don't have to
So-
must answer any of it, but certainly
Well,
I
when
have
it
no
comes to
problem doing
money, I
it.
think you do have to answer it, but
If it was a FOIL, I'd agree. Sorry, if it was a FOIL request, yeah, we can answer it, but it's not. So let's go ahead and reply. Your points
I'll
were
respond to
perfect.
Andy.
All right,
regardless of-
send us a copy that you're going to send him and go that way. Chief's report.
So Paul is in a class, so you guys have me for tonight. He emailed this to you. This is just pretty much identically what he emailed.
The same thing or
Um,
updated?
No, this is just,
Thank you.
the paper version,
Thanks.
which is. Same as you got emailed. There's a couple points that are not on there that you wanted me to follow up with. New business, unfortunately, Patricia Nick Layson passed away. So they have requested to use the big room. I believe, I don't know the
Sunday.
numerical date, Sunday. So, I guess for a formality purpose, they need permission from you guys.
I'd like to take that up right now. Anybody have a problem with that?
No,
I don't have a problem, but I think absolutely do it, but I would state that in accordance with the policy, he's supposed to give a deposit of $25. My opinion, that should be waived. Should not have to give any $25 policy.
Okay.
I don't know if we've ever done the money
Yeah,
for members.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. She
Right.
was a member of the
she
auxiliary.
was an
Yeah.
association member.
So, I
all
mean,
right, so
if you guys would like to waive it,
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
waive it.
waive it.
is that your motion?
Yes,
Okay, second, please.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, thank you.
so that was, new business. Expenses, he purchased a couple textbooks. Two of our members are in a fire officer 1 class. We have 4 new recruits going into the firefighter one class, I believe the end of this month. And I believe he bought 1 or 2 spare Fire One books, just to have in reserve. The couple things that are not on there, I know there's been some emails back and forth regarding the temporary power that was being supplied next door. I know you talked to the project manager about that, and I know there's some of the answers have been, some of the questions have been answered, excuse me. We still find the, no pun intended, cutting the corner over the building unacceptable.
That was, I saw that when, just before you emailed me the other day, I had seen that and I'd sent a note to him and I asked him, what is this? This is inappropriate. So then you came in and then yes, we're on it. And I hope he's going to address that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And so maybe I could read what, because I wrote to Reddy, and let me see if I could find it. He said, oh, let me see.
Did he get a reply back from the electrician or anybody?
No.
Okay.
We met
So,
with Tom DePaul today.
Oh, that's
yeah,
Yeah.
what did Tom say?
he said, that it's, I'll read the whole thing. I looped in Tolt Electric, this is written to Reddy, with the town of Newcastle. Tolt has the application for the temporary electric work and will submit the certification the town asks for. To me, it's totally unacceptable. what's
So-
been done.
Just so you know, that's a result of the conversation that Reddy and I had with Tom DePaul. And Tom basically said, it's temporary. It's secure.
I don't know.
It is. It's, you know, it's got couplings up there to get it to the, you know, granted, it doesn't look good, but for Tom, he's like, I just need a permit for it.
Well, that brings up
And then
another
he needs to
question though.
see, well, depending on how the questions are asked, Tom will rule whether it's
Well, and Mike, and
Proper.
you answer this as well. Number one, if you wrote up on a residence and you saw wiring like that, would that be accepted?
So we
to you?
actually contacted the building department, the chief staff on our own. Again, the fire department, just because we work here, is no different from any other establishment that we go to.
Mhm.
If we pulled up on something, and saw that, we would resort to the professionals for clarification. We did
But none
kind
of
of,
that, it's a hazard if we were to ladder it,
right, so it
ladder
is,
something like
it is a
that.
fire hazard. We, not only do we do fire suppression, we do fire prevention as well. So you pull up to the King Street traffic light here, all you have to do is glance over and see that. And I think anybody with some sort of common sense can look at that and be like, that doesn't look good. Might be up to code, I'm not sure on that aspect, not a codes person. But I know that we can ask them to make it safer, better, whatever the case is. So that's kind of our recommendation, to get that off of the roof, even if they just wrap it around. I know it is a temporary service, so I don't really know what parameters regards to the building codes and whatnot it really falls under. Again, that's not my specialty.
And I think Tom's decision is gonna be based on how Triton answers to
Right.
him.
So, and the other kind of,
He or Triton or the electrician.
Tolt.
That's whole,
Well-
but Reddy's probably gonna
Yeah.
work on it with them and
Sure.
hand it to
Right.
the.
and
hand it
these
to
are
the-
just kind of questions we
to
have for
Tom.
you, not kind of making any decisions on our half. But the permit, it seems like from the text message that were, or emails that were going back and forth today, that the permit has not been acquired yet. So that kind of raised Paul's email that you all received, I believe, into why are we kind of putting the cart before the horse, then backtracking, and then trying to get the horse in front of the cart type of
Yep.
thing. This isn't kind of the first hurdle that we've stumbled upon. The town of Newcastle is very, very strict when it comes to building permits, et cetera. So we as chiefs kind of expect the research to be put in before anything is done, especially with the permit process. All it takes is they're super nice downtown, go downtown, hey, we're putting X, Y, and Z up, does it require a permit? They can pretty much tell you on the spot, yes, it does, no, it doesn't. So that was kind of our concerns, as far as we're concerned. The next thing is I made contact with Nielsen Fleet, where we
F-150,
purchased
yeah.
the pickup truck for the command vehicle. That is scheduled to be built, or in the process, going on the line to be built, this month on the 30th.
30th, okay.
They said that's going to take about 3 to 4 weeks to complete just the vehicle. Then it will be shipped to Nielsen in New Jersey. I know you talked to our vendor today about the old utility, 206 for the radios and whatnot taken out of it. The other question we had too is, I know you contacted the previous buyer of our old Chiefs Car utility, whatever
Yeah.
that one was. Are we going to put that up on a auction or anything of that nature?
I don't know. They're hot to buy it, and Commissioner Roush had done some investigation the other day and come up with a range, 14K to 17K, in that range.
It was like 14.8 to 17.3.
Yeah,
Just for a.
just for the
top-up.
vehicle, yeah.
Right.
So, it's up to the board. We're gonna have to decide how we want to handle it, but they're hot for it. They want it. I was actually talking to the chief that bought the previous one. He was driving it when we were on the phone. So they're looking for it. It's a brother firehead, fire department, Allendale, New Jersey. Their budget is about 60,000 a year. 60,000 a year.
I have no problem
Yeah.
with assisting any fire department at all, and I know the lights are on there, the
Yeah.
box in the back.
Yep, box and
But
the
I
sign,
think,
yeah.
we have to do due
Sure,
diligence also and
absolutely.
get the best,
Yep.
money, for that truck
Yep.
for this
I
district.
have no problem putting it up there, and we had been using
What,
Signal 5, I think it was.
So
We
I
had been
know
using
Paul kind of wanted to get away from them. There are plenty of other outfits out
Mhm.
there that do the same thing. I know for work, the town uses, I believe it's Auctions International,
it. Okay,
is
which
that a
is,
magazine or online?
it's an online-based auction essentially, where you post, essentially, they post equipment of vehicles to backhoe buckets to, salt sanders, everything.
Okay.
And they have been very, very, good with the pricing that they've got auction-wise.
Mhm.
They've gotten a tremendous amount of money for stuff that kind of, you wouldn't expect them to receive the amount of money that they do.
is it like auctionsinternational.com? kind
I
of thing?
believe so. I
Okay,
think,
we'll look
I
it
don't
up.
know if you probably Googled it, you
Yeah.
gotta make an account or
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah,
is.
Tony had one, just so you know,
With them?
I don't remember which
Okay,
one.
well, we'll dig it
There's a
out.
couple different websites,
Yeah.
but that might be, again, it's great that they are interested in buying it, but the vehicle's in, pretty
Great
good shape.
shape, yeah, it really is, yeah.
So it might kind of do well
Yeah, you never know.
on there.
Can I just interrupt and inject something with regard to that vehicle? There is a maintenance key for the lockbox, Knox box.
Knox box,
Yeah,
yes.
it's up in your closet, key box, key
Okay.
secure. The vendor that's disassembling the vehicle needs that to take that box off of the command box.
Okay.
Inside.
We will-
So either you or Paul or hand me the key and I'll get it to him and I'll stand there while he takes it off and then bring the key right back.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do,
Okay,
whatever
I
works.
believe we could actually pull that key, secure it elsewhere, and then he can do whatever he wants with it.
whatever works. Can I leave that with you then?
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
And then again, as far as, anything else, we had 49 calls, I believe, in December. And our yearly total was just shy of, 500. I believe we were 4 alarms away from 500.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a record for us.
I think a couple of years ago, we were right around the same mark.
Yeah.
So,
Well, all the efforts that you and your teams put in, the other firefighters, you've done a remarkable job.
Yeah, I should say.
and as far as the chief's report, that's it.
Okay, thank you for taking care of the Knox box issue. I spoke to him today and I said that somebody would be getting to him
Okay.
with that.
Is that vehicle still down there?
Yeah, he's got it now.
Okay.
He had to bring it in the shop because when he starts pulling the trim panels off, if they're cold, they could snap and break.
Okay.
So he had to let it warm up for a couple of hours, he said, and
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's the story.
And the only other thing we have to do for when the pickup truck arrives is figure out what radio we're gonna put in there.
Yeah.
Whether it's that one.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, my feeling is this is a good radio, perfectly adequate. It's got dual heads. Whether we use both or not, it's up to the layout of the vehicle for the new one. The low band radio is also a dual head. Where, as you know, we're going away from the low band stuff. So it's kind of your call if you want to keep it in there for the time being.
okay,
It's really you can almost consider it a talk around channel, like almost a private thing, but it's low band, so it's, you know, not many people are gonna be listening to it. It's
We
usually
can program
paging.
our fire grounds in that, correct?
No. This is a low band, 46 megahertz, the low band. It's the paging, what we used to use for paging, 46 megahertz. That's dual head, it's Kenwood. The Motorola radio that's in there is high band trunking.
Okay.
So we probably can find a radio to fit in there in the new vehicle, in one of those slots, or buy a new plate that fits the new radio that you could put on Fireground.
Okay, and then do you know roughly when that low band is supposed to be going in? So
I heard, Captain Munson, is that his title?
Yeah.
Captain, he had said, I was on a call with him, he was saying that in like June timeframe, he expected it to be turned off
completely.
at the end of the year.
Okay.
But that's predicated on all the departments migrating over to UHF paging, which we haven't 100% done. Some departments may have, but I don't think we have. We've got a few, if I'm not mistaken, we've got a few of the newest pagers, not the ones with a little antenna, but the Motorola versions that I don't think have been handed out, but that's up to you guys to deal with.
I believe I believe everybody has a new pager.
Great.
So I think there might be one or two floating around still.
Right.
But I believe we kind of did make that transition.
All right, good. Last I had talked to Paul, it had not quite been done yet. So that's good. All right, so I think what will happen is they'll continue to page out on 46 megahertz as other departments are migrating to UHF, the 400 megahertz or 70. But once you are complete and you're satisfied that the new pages are working to your satisfaction, can you reach out to John Munson and let him know, you or Paul, let him know that we have transitioned 100%,
Okay.
so that he's aware, he doesn't have to page out on 46 megahertz for us.
Okay. We will notify him.
I think some of our adjoining towns may still be, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
It's up to them.
Definitely will do.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Feel free to stay.
Thanks.
Okay, all right. Thanks again, Mike. Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes from December 19th. Everybody have a chance to read them? I'd like to get a motion to approve, if so.
I
Somebody
was
want
just gonna ask if, like the correspondence, if that can be attached to either the minutes or the agenda, so we know what we're talking about.
That's not a bad idea.
You know, like if a letter, it doesn't have, from anybody,
Yeah.
so we know what we're referring to when we talk about it. So going forward, if we could do that,
Okay.
that was just my.
Okay.
My, one comment, just.
Do you want me to take some kind of notes or something?
I mean, I hate to make her listen to the entire thing, but if you can take generalized notes,
Right, that's the
Then
only
she
reason
can-
I was gonna
yeah.
ask. So you want the correspondence?
Yeah, going
attached?
forward,
we have
attached.
correspondence attached to our monthly approval minutes.
However, maybe to the agenda, because
Well, we have a correspondence in the agenda. It's just you want to attach to the
yeah,
minutes
no,
from
I
the
mean,
previous.
however, the board would like it, if we're gonna discuss, correspondence, and it's on the agenda, then attach it
Yeah,
to
to
the
the
agenda,
minutes.
so we have it,
Yeah, can't hurt.
okay?
Yeah,
Um,
can't hurt.
that I'd appreciate, just makes it easier.
Okay, I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes from December 19th then, of 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, and somebody second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you. Organizational I'll get it right. Organizational meeting minutes of January 2nd, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to review them? I will say there's something outstanding there that we should discuss before we vote on it. We had an item here, resolution setting the treasurer and commissioner's bond. So we held off on that one. I thought that we should have a higher limit, a higher bond amount. Right now, the wording here from the organizational meeting was $3 million for each of us. I thought with the amount of money we have in our account right now, it probably would make sense to up that. Even if we weren't building a firehouse, we have more than $3 million in our account, various accounts. So I think we ought to reconsider that and resolve whatever we're going to do. So does anybody have any
Who
comments?
holds the bond?
I think it's.
Guyan? All right, you want me to ask them, the highest amount that we can have, or is it a set amount?
Well, we
or-
have a 15 million, Katie, just in general, what do we have?
Yeah, oops. Just in the H fund, it's 16, so close to 20.
All right, so this protects us if something happens.
I would just ask them what's typical and appropriate.
Yeah, I'm
for-
gonna ask them what, if we were to increase it,
Yeah.
what they would recommend.
That's my comment. Now,
And if
does
3
anybody have
million
any,
is appropriate.
anybody
And
want to
also
discuss it?
the cost on it, I've never even seen an expense.
It's, I know it's quite low. It's
Okay.
not
Okay.
millions,
Okay.
it's tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars or
Okay.
something like
So
that.
I'll ask about the
Please.
price, you know, what it would be if we were to increase it and what their recommendation would be. Is
So
3 million accurate?
It's 3 million is
appropriate?
now,
Okay,
but we have 20 million, and once the project is done, we'll probably have 6 million in the bank. So we can drop it down again to cover us down the road.
okay.
I think this 3 million was probably historic. I'm guessing, I don't know.
Oh.
So, all right, so why don't we bring this up next month, but we'll leave it until then.
Okay,
Is that all right?
I'll get the
All right with you?
information and I'll email it to
I mean, do you have
everyone.
any suggestions? Okay,
No.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll hold that one in advance. Other than that, do we want to approve and approve the organizational meeting minutes from the 2nd of January? with
Just, are you
changes?
still on who's on the town board liaison? Is it you, Dwight, or me?
Me.
You are, okay, so that's a correction, because it has,
Yeah, that was wrong, right?
Yeah.
We corrected that
okay,
last,
so that's a correction.
right?
I thought so, because, and I just want a correction on the salaries. We voted to approve the normal salaries for
Mhm.
the treasurer and the secretary. I would just like to annotate it, that the 10,000 extra additional for the project was approved in 2023 and will be carried through to the end of the project.
Correct.
Okay, because we didn't vote on that. That was previously
It's
agreed to.
previously voted.
Okay,
Yep.
so if that could just be clarified, that's all.
Okay, any other comments or questions on the minutes from the organizational meeting? Hearing none, I would like to get a motion to approve them with the exception of the bonding for the commissioners and the treasurer, which we will hold over until the next meeting.
And as amended with Mike as town liaison
yeah,
and the
and that-
clarification
right.
on the 10,000 additional.
I'm pretty sure I have that. I'm not gonna dig for it, whatever. Okay, so may I get a motion on that, please?
I'll make the motion that we approve the organizational meeting minutes.
Okay, and a second, please.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, all those in favor with the amendments and the pending discussion with the insurance company, make a motion. I'd like to get a vote on that, please. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you all. Okay, Katie, you're up.
Okay, so in terms of Paul's chief's fund, we do have a new way of operating just because we closed his, or he's going to close his account down at Citibank. Chief's fund has been moved to Valley, so hopefully he'll just be able to write checks from that account if it's from the discretionary, his discretionary fund. He has sole signing capacity for just that account. And anything else that, you know, inspection or anything that doesn't fall within his discretionary budget should go through the main fund.
Okay,
I've had that conversation with him. He says sometimes that's practical, sometimes that's not.
I know there's books or something that they want.
Well, that's what this one
Credit
is
card.
for. This was books.
Mhm.
And so my request is to transfer the 5,000 discretionary from the 2025 budget plus his 60907 to the Chiefs Fund at Valley. And that will fund his discretionary fund for the
Okay.
year.
Just on that, you say he's sole signer on that? Does it make sense to add the assistant chief? Because in case Paul's out of town and something comes up?
If you think that's appropriate.
I mean, it's up to Paul and you, but I would suggest that if Paul's on vacation and something comes up
Okay.
and Mike has to buy something, just give him the right to do that.
Okay. Okay.
as long as, you know, you and Paul concur. That's all.
And so one of the things that came up in that discussion is, he was under the impression that reimbursements were not cool with the auditors. Now, of course, sometimes we have to reimburse ourselves for various expenses because we don't have the credit card. So I know we mentioned it earlier in 2024 at some point. I think we do need some sort of payment card to avoid sort of this scenario where people are putting things on their personal cards and needing to get reimbursed. And it just sets up a weird dynamic too, you know, not that anybody here does it, but some people will put expenses on their personal card just to get points, etc. So we really, in my opinion, should have a payment card. The auditors are coming on Tuesday, so I can have a more detailed conversation with them about that, but,
So you'd like us to at least give you permission to consider it, discuss it with them, find out if it's legit within our department and
that sounds
district?
fair.
I was under the impression at one point that it wasn't legal, but I've heard since then, multiple people in, you know, that have knowledge of this say it is legal.
Mhm.
So if you can get,
It's in the
input from
big
them.
thick fire commissioner's book. that
if you can
it's
get concurrence with them that
Yeah.
it's good, it's okay, then we have to come up with some procedure, some way to
Mhm.
secure the card so that it's available to somebody, but also can't be abused. Maybe,
I agree.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
So
Maybe
maybe you and Charlie can work on that with the auditor and figure out what the right thing to do is.
Yeah,
There is a sample policy, so I mean, you would just have to work upon that. My personal opinion is I don't like them, period, because having dealt with them in the past, too many problems. This is
Okay.
much smaller group, but I can tell you right now, I'm not in favor of it.
okay.
So if, and I'm not trying to argue.
No,
for
no,
or
no, I'm
against,
just saying,
but I'm just thinking that if there's, for example, in Paul's case, not picking on him, if he had to buy books 3 times a year, you would be able to do the purchase for him.
Correct.
And so it would basically be in your lockbox.
I mean, it wouldn't have to be. In theory, each commissioner could get issued a credit card and, you know, that's how it works in other organizations I've been associated with.
Let's take one step at a time.
Right.
Let's get one and see how that works. We can either wait a year, wait 6 months, whatever it works out. I personally don't think I need it. So I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm not needing it either.
Right.
So I don't know, the other commissioners may have other needs, and I know several commissioners have historically bought things, so fine.
I mean,
Let's get the,
just so you guys understand too, Paul was using his personal card for purchases and writing himself a check
Yep.
from the Citibank account,
does
which
look
is
funny.
really
it
not
does, yeah,
cool.
that's not,
it looks funny.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
So-
if you can find a secure way to have one credit card that you can be the gatekeeper of, whether you give it to him or you buy it things for him, and have some secure limit with a password protection so it can't be raised, you know, some $500
Spending
limit,
limit,
$1,000 limit,
Mhm.
whatever we feel comfortable with, you feel comfortable with. So whatever you guys want to do, as long as the auditors are okay with it,
okay,
right?
yep. I'll talk to them more about it on
and
Tuesday.
you could pull that policy. Do you have access? And just pull or I'll send it to you, the sample credit card policy.
Okay, yeah, that'd
Take
be
a look
great.
at that,
Yep.
you know, and maybe the auditors might have suggestions as to what to add to it to keep it more secure.
Sure.
But I agree with you, personal credit cards, earning points, miles, things like that. You know, you can't avoid it, and that's why people use their card.
Yeah. Okay, so, in terms of, let's just touch on the budget, the final, I mean, it's pretty final. Again, we're gonna, go through it with the auditors on Tuesday, but, we did end up with a healthy deficit, so, we can talk to them more about, what we can do with that, whether, and really, we did do a big fund transfer, the 950 from Maine to trucks at the end of last year, so that we really just kept enough money in the main operating account to keep us solvent until we get our new appropriation for 2025. But I'm just wondering if anybody had any questions about the surplus or deficits in any particular account.
Well, I see what appears to be a deficit under the insurance. Does that mean we went over budget there, or was that, how did that happen?
It's just because it was not a budgeted item.
It was, yeah, it was, came in higher than anticipated.
And this is
for that.
covers what insurance? Aspect.
That was for the life insurance.
Oh,
And, you know, we do have new members coming in.
Nancy, I think, isn't this when you guys had the leak or whatever?
One of them,
That was the big deficit, the 39.
oh,
it-
that,
yeah.
yes. But, yes, that was for the leak that we had in
we
here.
had 2 leaks in short order, really.
Right.
Yeah,
But the other one, you have to keep in mind too, thankfully, they're getting new members.
Mhm.
And you can't really, some years you do, some years you don't.
right.
So they bumped us up because we had a claim? Or how does that work? Because I was under the impression our insurance covered the claim.
Charlie, not all of it, right? On the insurance for the flood,
No, I thought it covered everything.
the 39.
I thought everything was covered.
I was under the impression it was. I mean, within
I don't
$1,000
know.
bucks. Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, it's immaterial.
I can take a look and tell you
Yeah.
what's in that line
39 is
item.
39 is a big number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it all that, or was some of it that accident with Millwood's truck?
Ooh, that might be
That
true.
might, yeah,
That might be it.
There was a little,
Did that cost 39,000?
I don't know, it could, part of
I
that
don't know
could
what
be
it
in
is.
there.
When they responded to one of our calls.
Yeah,
Mutual aid, yeah.
and that was in there too. But we can look into it. I don't know if all of this was covered because we had, the, initial outlay. And then I think we did a little bit, extra in here just to,
I know you spruced it up nice.
well, I think there were some things that were a little extra while they had the ceiling
Sure.
open and things like that, but I don't know if it came to 39,000.
I mean,
Oh.
for our stuff for the 2 weeks, that sounds a little excessive,
It does.
even with buying a new server and everything else. I know that was covered.
But the server was covered?
Yeah.
Was, okay. We'll
And
have to take-
honestly, now that I'm looking at this too, I think up here in the revenue, you were reimbursed for that. So I think this was the expense and then you, in the revenue, up in A2401, you got reimbursed for it. That's what I think happened, but I can look into it closer.
Yeah, just so we have a real feel for what that is.
I kind of have a feeling that truck was a bulk of it. I think that was a pretty big
Yeah.
number.
Well, it didn't look, the damage didn't look
It
so
sure
severe,
did. It sure
you
did.
know, in the beginning, so I don't know.
But if something that was
It's
damaged,
a truck, it's a
let's say
fire truck.
frame or something, I mean, something
Exactly.
could
And the
really
bumper.
cost. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I guess, Katie, I guess basically we're happy,
Yeah,
but we'd like to get specifics,
Sure.
it's a big number.
yeah, no, it's.
And I see it immediately to the left as a actual, and then a deficit to the left, to the
Right.
right. So I'm not sure how that,
Well, and
What is that?
I know that's because it was not a budgeted item, so we had zero, it was unexpected, right? So the expense, and actually, I'm just pulling it up right now. It's, United Restoration, exclusive testing labs, suburban carting, that says.
oh, you
flood,
know what, because we did have to do the testing for the asbestos.
Laza Industries,
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, we should be covered for some of that, but maybe not to the extent that they had to do the testing.
were we covered? Wasn't there some exclusion that we were not
That's what I'm
covered for
thinking,
something?
was it the asbestos testing and some of the other testing in the ceiling?
yes,
Or the
actually,
Around
you
the
were,
pipes and things,
you were reimbursed 38,329.26.
we were,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that ended up in revenues instead of in expenses. So these two actually net, you just don't see it.
okay,
Sorry.
so everything's,
bad.
okay, so we're in good shape then?
Yep.
Okay,
With the exception, I mean, if we go up to 6,001 professional services, it looks like we did a budget transfer, but we're above right now. Is that at the end? I mean, is that going to remain there? Or is that gonna creep up
Yeah,
into
so
a deficit again?
No, so this is final, so you had a surplus of 16,750 on that line
Right.
item, so you're good there.
Right. And then the 2% disbursement, that shows as a net
Yes,
nothing?
but it came up as revenue up here, so those net to zero,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. This is a place where we would vote on approving the budget as presented or read. Anybody have any questions for Katie before we vote on it?
No, so Katie, anything that's left over after we, use what we have to use for 2024,
Mhm.
that will be transferred over into the capital reserves?
Well, like I said, we just transferred 950.
Right.
And basically that happened at the end of 2024, so it sort of included this
Okay, and that was because
surplus.
the money hadn't been transferred for a couple of years
Correct.
into reserves.
Correct.
Okay, so anything that is left over,
We kind of need to keep it in our main operating account for now, at least
Right.
until we get the.
right, but once we get the 2025 money, anything that's left over, we could put into trucks or house or whatever at the
Yes.
end, and we probably should.
Okay, yep, agreed.
Okay. Could we get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
This is the preliminary
Budget.
document for the auditor's review. The treasurer's report we didn't do yet.
Okay, yeah, so,
Oops, I jumped the gun.
and I don't know if you want to vote on that or wait until the auditors have a minute to review it, but just wanted to discuss it before the auditors came, so
Yeah, we
I could bring up anything with them that needed to be.
I think we should wait.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Okay.
We should wait until they
Brought me
see
up to
it.
speed
Yep.
here, so.
Yes, I agree. Okay, H fund, 1,057,774.33 for the capital project, and that's in part the key payoff of 1,079,000, but their budget in total is like nearly 10,000 or 10 million.
Before you go further, what page are you on?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
think I
sorry,
have that.
the H fund capital projects.
Down in the lower right, it says page 104, 204.
Oh, no, this
I
one's
just
one
have
of
the-
one.
101.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can get down. Okay, I got it. Hold on, looks like that, I think.
Okay, let me share.
Transaction list by vendor, but there's two of them really.
Right,
Okay,
and then,
sorry to interrupt.
no, that's okay, so and then in the main operating account, we ended up at $77,030.84.
And that's this, also this page 101?
No, this is on the 104.
That's it, yeah, that's the first
Bouncing
one.
around. And that the numbers you just rattled off, that's on page what?
Page 4.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, 77,030.84.
Yes.
And Motorola hit on this one, the 30,000.
Yeah,
That's a purchase order. I got the lingo from Robin, because I did speak to her about keeping that in the 2024 budget, even though we haven't received it yet. And it's called a purchase order encumbrance. So we did that with the truck, with Paul's Genesis tools and the radios. So it's about
I think we did
140,000.
that with Turnout Gear too.
Well,
That's
the
what
tools
I mean.
Tools and gear,
and the gear.
Okay, got it.
I haven't seen the gear, by the way, so that
I don't think
is,
you put a PO in yet.
okay,
I
so
think
that's gonna have to go to 2025. Just saying. So
We couldn't encumber it even though the PO hasn't been delivered to.
I haven't seen any numbers.
You have to have it before.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have thought he'd do it by now. All right,
Yeah.
well, he's a busy guy.
Yeah,
All right,
Can you
so
do it, Mike? You should be able to do the POs and the encumbrances for that.
I did a PO for the,
Yeah, so if
For what
Paul gave
gear?
you the info, like for turnout gear, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
do the paperwork. So I would just speak to him, so it's too late now, but
Right, and in
Right,
theory,
'cause
again.
He
there
just sent
was-
the members to get sized up for them.
Yeah, but you could, so, you see what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
know-
You could
I
have
know
put
what
the
you're
money aside, but so,
And so he has a $26,000 surplus so in theory, maybe we can do a budget transfer.
transfer,
For that,
For
into
that.
25.
Into 2025.
yeah.
Once we get there.
I'm sure he's going to need more in 2025, so if that 26 is available, we're gonna have,
Oh, it's-
absolutely have to give it to him for 25.
It's gonna be $70,000.
Yeah, I realize, but that's the
his
$50,000
entire budget.
difference is coming out of 25.
Oh, he's gonna need more money.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, I reached out to the Motorola vendor middle of last week sometime, I guess it was. And he said probably the radios will be here sometime in January, he thinks, he's not sure. And the other line item for radios, I think it's on page 2. I forget, I don't know where it is. Yeah, page 2, bottom of page 2, that's $1,260 for intrinsically safe batteries. Chief says he had found 6 brand new in the box batteries in the chief's room, I believe. And unfortunately, they died on the shelf. So I tried my best to rehabilitate them. We have a beautiful charger out there in the radio room, and they just don't seem to take a charge. Once they died, that's it. They seem to be dead. So what we're gonna have to do is come up with a little bit of a plan that if we have batteries on the shelf, to once in a while charge them or swap them with a radio so that we can keep spare batteries from dying. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. And once these, it's 14 radios come in. Once the 14 radios come in, then we're going to take 14 radios that are old school off of the trucks that they're on. And we're having a problem keeping them with good batteries. So, and the old radios are, have broken microphones, broken antennas, and the new radios are gonna last us many years like the old ones have. So it's gonna be a much nicer, streamlined thing. And it will prevent us from having questions about which radio goes in which pocket on a given truck. So if they're all the same, it'll be a lot easier to keep the radios charged. I found a couple of radios 2 months ago, I guess it was. 2 radios. One radio was in one pocket it's a pocket charger on the truck that was designed for a different style radio. And I had the other one that was, I think it was in backwards or something. So if we can get some commonality, I think it's gonna be a real good thing for longevity.
And just as an aside too, so like, as I mentioned, auditors are coming Tuesday, and we're gonna be working in here most of the day, so just
Okay.
for planning purposes.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
I know it's in law that we can pay up to X number of dollars for voting inspectors. When you're doing this all day here with them, do we have any way of buying you lunch or them lunch?
Oh,
I don't know if it's legit. I'd like to know.
I know Christine bought lunch for,
Yeah, when the elections, she goes over
But
to
that's,
Quaker.
that's in law.
Well, do you have petty cash? Don't you have a petty cash?
We had
account?
$180 some
we
dollars.
can't find it.
There's a petty cash file in there.
Oh, you.
I don't know what's
okay,
in it. I mean, it's
Okay.
in the lateral,
Okay,
so I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
look after.
Well, if you
Yeah.
can find it, that was $100 and something dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would use
So
that.
does anybody have a problem with them using that they're gonna be here all
honestly,
day?
since they're auditors,
Like-
I don't know.
They may
Well,
not be too.
They may
buying
be
them
able
lunch.
to tell you if it's legit,
Okay,
you know,
right.
I mean, that's the
Fair.
question.
Can I buy you lunch?
If it's a cup of, I mean, even if it's just a cup of
Wink, wink.
coffee.
Then they'll look at it as a bribe. and
No,
that'd be
no,
it.
no, that's not the point.
I know.
Just
Okay.
back to the budget though. Paul sent this, which is the hydrant rental, the maintenance on it, that we pay $100,000+. Where are these records kept? Because this is a support documentation for that 100+ that the district pays. Are there files in there?
Have they
I
been
haven't.
saved in the past, I guess?
They should be in there because this is a record and it goes with the financial. So this is, I hate to be, I'm gonna, talk about it, but the files have to be in there,
Yeah,
period.
Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
so last year, these records, 2023, there should be hydrant rental maintenance records in there because it's not a small amount of money that
Well,
we pay.
2023 might still be there. I did consolidate all of Robin's 2024 into one place.
Mhm.
I didn't see anything like
So
that.
you can have this, but this is,
Okay,
these are the records that we must be kept to support that 100,000.8, whatever
Yeah.
we're paying. Because it shows that the maintenance was done and they're working.
okay,
So,
But
yeah,
you sent an email on that, right?
yes, so I'm just asking, so this
Could
you
that
can
be
have,
stored in that Dropbox?
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
scan
Yeah.
it for sure.
but,
Well, all
But
you gotta do is
also,
move the email over, right?
what's
but-
that?
Paul sent an email with that whole file.
correct.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I bet
I
I
can
wasn't on
forward
it.
You know, here it is, you can have, but my question really is, where is 2023, 2022? Because it's a lot of money. It's
Yeah,
a good part of our budget.
Probably in soft copy on a computer.
Maybe.
I mean, if it was sent, I don't remember seeing it. Do you remember seeing it in? Okay, I don't remember seeing it last year, for example. If it
Paul
was
has it,
sent.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paul
Yeah.
may, yeah.
Yeah.
So if they have it even in soft copy, we can get it in soft copy, stick it on the Dropbox or in our, for example, we can put it on our website if it's an appropriate thing to put up. I don't know.
I don't know if it is,
I
but
don't
it's
know
just,
either.
it supports that
Sure.
large payment
It has
that's
to,
made.
has to
Yeah.
justify the payment.
No, I
Yes,
agree.
exactly. So that's why I was wondering, where are the other ones? I did not see any in there for those years. That's why I'm asking.
Nancy, can I see that file for a second?
Okay, any other items that we want to talk about on your treasurer's report?
No, I'm done.
Okay, and this page is similar to the two-page staple version,
Oh, yes,
ostensibly the same?
they are the same.
Okay. All right, anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report as presented? Anybody want to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented?
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Okay, committee reports. I have a moderately small one today. Communications radios. The new radios have been ordered. They should be in sometime in January by the vendor. Once they get them, they're going to be engraved to indicate that they belong to Chappaqua Fire Department as opposed to, getting them lost. Once they're in, they're coming with pocket chargers, a single pocket charger. And the nice thing about these chargers is that you unscrew the old charger, unplug the wire, plug the wire into the new charger, and screw the charger physically into the bracket. So it's a simple thing to replace them. So it's a bing, bang, bing. As far as the siren, I have nothing to report. I think maybe this month I'll reach out to the vendor and make sure he's on track to get us a new radio for the 470 megahertz region, which is not what the radio was. See, the siren works off of tones, like our fire department pagers. And right now, they've been setting the siren off with 46 megahertz radios from county control. Going forward, they're going to be dispatching us and setting the sirens off with 470 megahertz. So therefore, we need a new radio receiver in the siren control box. So we'll have to see how that goes. It should be just a small little radio, nothing fancy, no scanning, no display, anything fancy. Engine 144, one of the radios in that truck was giving us some trouble. I've swapped batteries around, trying to minimize that until the new radios come in. The utility 206, it's a 2015 Tahoe. I contacted the borough of Allendale, New Jersey Fire Chief. The borough itself bought the last truck we sold them. The chief is not sure if the fire department or the borough will pay for this one if they are the lucky winners of it. But as Chief Zezzi points out, it would make sense for us to go and put it online and see how much we can get for it. But based upon research that Commissioner Roush did the other day, it's somewhere in the region of high $14,000 to mid $17,000 for the vehicle alone. But we're going to include the lights, the siren, and then there's a box that fits in that size space in the back of the truck for fire extinguisher and turnout gear and things like that.
So would that be between like 3,000 and 5,000 add-on?
If we were to sell it that way,
How much is a light bar? Or
it depends on what's in it. I don't know what's in it. I went around looking at it today,
Mhm.
but I didn't see a model, other than Wayland, I didn't see a model number, so I don't know. I would
Typically
imagine,
about $2,000.
I would say even more nowadays. LED, this is a
Higher.
low profile unit.
Oh, okay.
So it's well worth 14 to 17,000.
Mm.
And because it's got other stuff, it's worth a little bit more. We sold the last one to them via an intermediary. And we sold the last one to them for 14,000 even, and it had the same stuff in it. So it was nice that we were able to get it
Mhm.
through the intermediary. That's how he priced it. I don't know if he used the same service you had chosen or used the other day.
Yeah.
So we'll have to put it out there and see what it could get us.
Yeah, I just used Kelly Blue Book.
Yeah, right.
That's
That's legit.
It's pretty much the
Yeah.
standard.
That's about all I have right now. And I've lost my sheet. Sorry.
Right.
Yes.
Should we go back? I think we do need to vote on the fund balance transfer, the 5,609.07 for the chief's discretionary fund. Do we,
We didn't, we were going, I suggested we do that, but that was not where we were doing it. So, okay.
or we can wait for the end, but I just wanted to.
No, let's do it now before we
Get it out of the way.
get it
Yeah.
done and make sure it's all documented and all that. Okay, so Katie, just restate what it is that
Sure.
we're doing. please.
So we need to transfer 5,000 for the chief's discretionary fund from the main operating account to his checking account at Valley. In addition to his chief's report of from January, which is $609.07, for a total of $5,609.07. Transfer from main to chief's discretionary fund at Valley Bank.
I'll
Okay,
make a motion to make the transfer.
second, please.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you. Okay, Katie, is that good?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, all right, Commissioner Frank, you're up next.
Okay, so in terms of the site, formwork is underway at the southwest corner of the foundation. The formwork on the north foundation, south foundation, and east corner is ongoing. The east foundation has been ready for excavation, and the excavation of the remaining east footings has started. Crushed stone geotextile fabric was delivered to the site for placement at unsuitable soil locations. Excavation of soil at the north section of the site where formwork and rebar placement is underway. There has been ongoing excavation work along the east footings, and there is ongoing site excavation, formwork, and rebar placement at other site locations such as the south foundation and the east foundation corner. The west and southwest foundation retaining walls are being waterproofed, and other waterproofing and insulation work continues. Tarp has been placed over the subgrade for frost protection. Soil piles at the north section of the site are being removed. A 100 amp temporary power panel has been installed for use on the construction site, and the certification has to be submitted to the town for approval.
And the permit has to be requested
Yeah.
or gotten, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but you noticed that wire that they had installed for the temporary service to the new building? You had noticed that?
I
Draped
have
across?
pictures of it.
I
I've
think
never
we all
seen
do.
anything
Yeah,
that is.
you know, it's funny, I was here early in the morning, shortly after Nancy left. I was here for an hour watching them do stuff, and I saw them put it up there, and then they were walking around, and I said, okay, well, I gotta go to work. So they had secured in several places into the building hangers for that cable. But it was draped, and I thought temporarily over that flashing
Yeah.
material, and I was astonished when I came back and
I
it was still
agree.
there. So I think it looks,
Well, we'll see what.
whether or not it's legit to code,
No, I don't think
permittable,
it's code.
I don't like the looks of it. It looks, I mean, for example, water running down the asphalt shingles. If it impacts that, it's gonna slow down. If it's frozen, it's gonna build up. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, it's gonna be up to the town for approval.
Yeah, I think we should push and make sure it's moved because I don't like that at all.
Well, I agree with you, and just in light of the project now that it's really ongoing, to me, again, I think we should have a permit. He should have had the permit
Sure.
before he started the work. And because of these types of things,
Yeah.
Reddy is great. He is young, nothing about him professionally, but we really need to make sure that what's being done is, properly permitted. I've asked for copies of the permits because there's nothing in the files. So we have insurance and the permits here, but why that was allowed to happen without a permit is unacceptable.
Well, I think in Reddy's defense, Tolt Electric should have known they needed a permit for that.
They're
Exactly.
electricians.
Of course, they're electricians
Exactly.
You
and
know,
when they got the contract for the job, they should have went to the town and got all their codes that they
Agreed,
need.
100%.
And
this is just another example of things slipping through the cracks, which is
And they shouldn't be,
inappropriate.
right?
And you
So,
could even go as far as saying lack of supervision, because they obviously did this without, anybody looking at it and saying, wait, it's not right.
well, key
Well, I think Reddy
construction's
knew
on
they
site.
were gonna do the job, but he didn't know they were gonna do it this way.
No, I mean, we,
All right,
we
well-
called him later in the afternoon and we saw it. But I mean, because of this, would it be prudent to have another meeting during the month? Just to make sure that things are on target, on track, and being
Well-
done the right way.
I see your point, but there's a meeting every Monday that Ed and sometimes I go to, not as often as Ed. So that can be Monday morning. I don't know if I have time. I'll do my darndest to tag team with you, and maybe we can beat them up a little bit and say, this is unacceptable going forward. All of a sudden finding that they could have or should have had a permit for X, Y, and Z, whether it's flagstone or wire hanging in the sky. We have to make sure that they follow the appropriate codes. And if a particular vendor, professional, is building something, they should know that there's a potential for a permit
Well,
requirement.
that's why I asked Reddy.
It's
So
not
from now
great.
on, before a contractor
Yeah.
starts, we need to see insurance, because there's so many different subcontractors
Trades, all
out
the
there.
different trades, yeah.
I get the insurance from them, but they have to prove
Yeah.
that, well, who would, not the vendor, yes, but who would ensure that they have the proper permits?
It
Who
would
is
be
the
Tolt.
person?
Tolt has to give it to, I guess, Reddy, and Reddy should be checking on that. I would
Well, in this
imagine.
case, but would
Yeah.
Key Construction be the one?
I
they're
don't know,
the-
Ed, I would
Yeah,
assume
Key
it follows up.
Construction is in charge of the whole
Right.
thing, and reporting to Reddy.
And yeah, so I guess there's
So-
a failure on two levels.
Right, so they should make sure
Or
the,
three,
right, the permits are issued. You just
Yeah.
can't have contractors
right,
coming here,
willy-nilly.
right, doing work without
Yeah.
being permitted. But
The one good thing about this whole wire in the sky thing is that they seem to have penetrated a place that was not going to require waterproofing to any great deal. It's not gonna be, they went through a place that's not going to be underground and therefore susceptible to leakage in the basement in the future.
Right, well,
So that's a good
Charlie and
thing.
I were with Reddy
Yep.
and John
Yep.
today, and we showed them
Yeah.
where they came in.
Yeah.
And did the work, so I mean,
Yeah.
they do come over here
Yeah, I know.
and they do look, but, it is troublesome that they did the work without a permit.
So getting off that topic for just a second, I saw that the town wants to have the silt things, filters on the manholes or something, and
Yeah.
storm drains.
Some of them weren't kept clean, they were clogged and whatever. Yeah, they had some complaints about that, yeah.
Okay, and I think there was something else that the inspector from the town said, something about dirt piles, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
wants grass on them.
yeah, I have notes on that.
Okay, and Reddy and Reddy and Key are on top of that, they're
Well,
doing it.
yeah, they're well aware of that at this point, yeah, because they've been told by the town.
Yeah.
Well, they have a
Well,
week,
they're
they have a
not
week to
progressing
fix it.
Yeah, I think
otherwise
it
they
they
have
has
have
to be done by Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, it has to be
Yeah.
corrected by Friday.
Right, and was that a storm drain out by King? Is that where it was? The filtering was failing?
I don't know exactly, but the silt fences were clogged up.
Oh, the fence, I'm sorry, I thought it was a drain.
Yeah, I think it was the silt fences.
Okay, I'm sorry to jump in there. Ed, do you have anything else
No,
to
that's
discuss
fine.
about the project? or
I
anything?
just think though, if these issues become more frequent, then the Monday meeting, yes, I know it's a lot of time, but it's a big project, then we need to really keep an eye on it and maybe meet another time during the month.
Well, I think we're gonna get some resistance from Kevin as far as.
Oh, he doesn't have to, I mean, even if the board needs
Oh,
to
okay.
discuss
Yeah, no.
items that come in with Ready's,
Is
you know,
everybody invited
weekly.
to that Monday morning meeting? I mean, why wouldn't you just show up to that?
I don't know if it's.
Well, I don't think more than three of us.
I think
or
only, because then it is an
two,
official
yeah.
meeting.
But I don't know, we could
right.
make it so that any of us could show up.
Right.
So it's just a matter of noticing it in an official newspaper, et cetera. the
Right.
web. So if you
Um,
guys have interest in coming at any point, I mean, for example, Ed's been going on his own. I think you've been once or twice, right?
Mhm.
So I've been there once for sure. I don't remember. I've been there a couple of times, but not during the whole meeting. So why don't we ask Christine if she can notice some of these going forward? Not every single Monday, maybe every other Monday, or the second month, the first and the second, or first and the third
You
Monday.
could just say whatever it is, do a blanket advertisement for that, it covers everything. But I just think, you know what, we just need to be more diligent about what's happening and anything that's noticed in Ready's daily, reports. If they are issues like what happened with the electricity, then, you know, we can't just rely on Ready. We need to take action because, we can't have an issue with another stall, another stop work order.
Well, luckily, and this is just my perception of that issue, luckily, the inspector came and gave us until Friday to clarify and fix it. So they're gonna fix it.
Right, no,
so
and I
that's
know
good.
it's a
But
good,
it's, we caught it before it could happen,
correct.
but the wire is an after the fact, and that's something that. I
Right,
don't
and
think
I'm
any of
glad the
us
chief saw it too,
Sure.
because you know what,
Sure,
if they were gonna give somebody else, you know, a
Agreed,
warning
yeah.
or whatever,
sure.
we can't be not doing the
We,
same
we
thing.
have to be held to the same standard.
Exactly.
Dwight, I can tell you exactly what Terry Rowe said. I performed a site inspection and found issues with the erosion control maintenance. Equipment and material need to be removed off of silt fence. All fallen, damaged silt needs to be repaired, reinstalled. Stockpiles need to be covered with hay and seed or tarp. All items need to be addressed, corrected by Friday, January 17th at noon, or a violation will be issued. Terry Rowe, Civil Engineering Technician, Town of Newcastle.
So he wants either hay and seed or a tarpaulin.
Yeah,
Okay, so in this kind of weather, I'm sure a tarpaulin is the way to go, as
Yes.
opposed to trying to plant
Yeah.
seed in this type of weather.
Mhm.
Okay, so that sounds like a fairly easy thing to
yeah.
overcome. Okay, anything else? Ed?
So that's it.
Okay, Charlie, you're up
That's
next.
enough.
So I guess two big things this month was, again, Robeson with the heat and our circulator pumps.
Mhm.
We had to wait for those for, what, like a week and a half?
Week and a half and they sprung a leak. So we had issues in the basement.
And then while I was away, Nancy took the reins on that, and, there's still a bad pump in there.
Right. So that's gonna be replaced. We already spoke to Katie about not paying that $4,000 bill. We're not gonna pay for a tech to come back. That labor is gonna be free, because that's on them. But we
So
had
the
it,
pump that they installed is bad?
the pump, yes, it's
Oh.
actually, the motor is upside down. But we needed to have it installed because we were starting to lose heat in the building. So we will get a new pump. We're gonna be able to keep that one as a backup just in case. But that was, expensive.
Yeah.
So it's covered under warranty. We're gonna have it replaced.
The other thing is the Johnson Controls, fire alarm system. They're coming on the 22nd to kind of give us a whole new system, which will now be Wi-Fi. And.
Oh,
it will-
Wi-Fi,
Yeah,
and not cellular.
well, it goes through I think it goes through our Wi-Fi network,
Okay.
but it's a cellular box, but it uses our Wi-Fi network. You know how you could turn your phone on to,
Wi-Fi call.
use Wi-Fi calling?
Okay.
It uses that.
And it's outside any firewalls that we,
It's in the box on the chief's.
physically,
Yeah.
I know that, but I mean, as far as the Wi-Fi they use is gonna be outside any of our protection, or our iron firewall, whatever it is upstairs.
Well, yeah, we'll have to let them into the firewall, but,
Alright,
That's fine. They have a contract with us, so they're approved, and I don't think that there's anything for us to do on our part. They're gonna come on the 22nd
so that's
and install it. They said they're not supporting landlines anymore, and ours is landline based, and that's why they think that we're having problems.
when you are talking to them again and when they wanna install it in there, do we have enough Wi-Fi in that little room for them? Do they have any kind of way to ascertain?
Yeah, I think they could check the signal and
Okay,
make sure.
good, because it's kind of in the middle of the entire wire.
Well, that's why we also put a Wi-Fi repeater in the bay, the lower bay,
Okay.
so that we can
Like-
have coverage on that side, because we knew it was lacking.
Like the one in the.
Yeah. So we got the area covered. And yes, it used to be an issue that you couldn't even get cell service in the lower bays.
Yeah.
So, but we got that covered.
Okay.
Today there was another issue with heat in here. And I was able to take care of it, so no need to call Robeson for that. Again, it was,
You know, as I was walking the dog, I think I saw a Robeson truck out back dropping fuel, I think. Could that have stirred up any silt and caused a problem in the boiler maybe?
no, you turn, I mean, I went down there and bled the boiler, or bled the line to the boiler. And it just came out that black muck garbage.
Which they're saying is from the pipes, the
Yeah.
lead pipes and whatever. That's what they're telling us, and it probably is
Cause it's consistent. I
Yeah.
mean, you've seen how much water they take out of there.
a lot.
And it's not like it's getting any clearer.
Well, down at Center Street, the same type, because that has to be done once a week, so the same type is coming out of that boiler.
No, interesting.
That is a gas-fed boiler.
But the pipes are the same,
Yeah, they're steel,
Yeah.
iron. yeah,
iron, so we're getting the same,
rust.
yes.
Okay,
But that boiler's working well,
good.
And those pipes are even older.
older.
So that's about it. But I mean, just Robeson, we should set up a revolving door for Robeson to use in here, because
Give them a key fob.
it's, yeah, it's like constant.
Okay, well, I tell you what, since you got the alarm fixed, it's nice to be able to walk around in the bays and not hear that thing blaring.
Yeah, I know.
That was a mess. Okay,
And hopefully, once we get the circulator pump, we'll get better heat throughout the building. Because it's one of the big circulator pumps. It's not the one that says, the different chief's room or commissioner's room.
Mhm.
Those are the small ones. There's two big ones that are right next to it that really pump, I guess they pump water out. The other ones are recirculating back in.
oh, okay, I didn't know that.
So those are the return pumps.
Okay. Anything further?
Huh?
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, okay. Commissioner Soldo, you're up.
Yeah, I just have, Paul and Mike had, ordered for the 2024 budget, but we're gonna take delivery this year, two Hearst tools, going from the hydraulic tools to the newer Genesis tools for the utility vehicle. And those are pretty expensive. Those are upwards of 39,000. And then he also purchased ballot harnesses from AAA for $1,000.
How many you get?
I'm assuming two, that would cover two.
That's about right.
And yeah, that's it. And a trickle charge for one of the trucks.
Okay. One thing that I'd like to see us discuss in the procurement, I guess, policy at some point is what we're going to do with the equipment that's being taken out of service for new higher tech stuff. We're starting to get quite a pile of it in our storage room down in the lower bays. So maybe you can ask Paul if there's any stuff that's being replaced that could potentially be auctioned off, or I don't know. I don't know how to distribute or dispose of it, but it's getting to be quite a lot. And as we all know, at some point in the June, July, August timeframe, they're going to want to take some of that space away from us, that storage warehouse down in the bottom bays. So we're going to need to clean out the upstairs and the better part of the downstairs of that room. So, anything we can do to minimize the amount of stuff in there would be a big help.
So I wanted to mention, Reddy and John were here today, and they were saying, they were looking at the far corner by Rescue.
Mhm.
They're saying they need to put a temporary wall in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're concerned that we don't have enough room for the truck.
That was Chief Biden's exact complaint, concern. It was kind of shocking when Ed, the chief and I,
Yep.
and Reddy, and I forget, I think Key or somebody was down there, and they were saying, yeah, we'll put the wall here and we'll do this. And we're kind of like, where did this come from? Out of the blue. They want a 3-foot depth. Did you see the blue tape on the?
Yeah.
That was I just guesstimated how much space that was
Yep.
gonna be. I didn't measure it. So that's where the wall's gonna be essentially. So it's gonna be a tight fit for any truck in that bay. And
They were like, you can't relocate it to another area. I was like,
build us a firehouse.
every other truck is just as big, if not bigger, right? Look at the ladder, right? And you can't move it up here because it's not gonna fit. That's why it's
Mhm.
down there. So,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's really in the chief's domain to figure out what they need to do. If we have to, and I don't know that we could have the wherewithal to do it, where would we even build it? I was just gonna think if we could build a temporary shelter someplace to house something, but it's not gonna be secure. It's not gonna be, can't do it overnight and drop a shelter there. I don't know what the plan is, and we gotta maybe, have the chiefs say what they need at the very minimum. Because at 2 a.m. back in the rescue inn, it's gonna be a tough go.
We've already had somebody hit the wall once.
No, that was in the break daylight too.
And you use that vehicle a lot.
We do. I will say that in either case, whether it's daylight or nighttime, it needs to have a spotter. All trucks need to have a
Agreed.
spotter backing in. And in the daylight, when that was done by a vendor, they didn't have a spotter. So, and we do when we back our trucks in, no matter the time of day. So that's kind of a saving grace, but still, that's taking 3 feet in front of where the truck normally stops,
Mhm.
away from us. So it's gonna be tough. I mean, if the truck came in and then canted a little bit, it would fit. Or if they would say, okay, we only need 2 feet, or we don't need to go quite that far out toward the front of the bay. I don't know, but we have to have that serious discussion with the chief and find out what we need.
And I think we have to get the exact measurement.
Yeah,
Like, that's just an estimate.
it's
right
an
now.
estimate. I think what they want is 3 feet so they can swing a hammer, jackhammer, whatever, and take that wall down from both sides. If they were able to take it down from the outside,
I was gonna say the outside.
yeah, maybe that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
So that they don't need that. They'd still need 6 inches, where the brick is gonna fall and whatever else, the windows coming out and all. So maybe we should propose some of these suggestions. And if Christine can notice this coming Monday as a meeting that all the commissioners may come to, or any of us could come to, maybe we can bring that up to them at this point, because it's far enough in advance for them to start thinking about alternatives to how they're gonna punch through that wall.
I mean, also, maybe for the time being, because they need 3 feet to, like you said, swing a hammer or whatever. We park it on the apron,
During the day.
yeah, and then,
Well, it's August, it's not gonna freeze.
Huh?
It's not gonna freeze.
yeah,
I don't know,
or even pull it out enough so, well, I don't know if it'd get damaged.
I don't know,
Pull it out on the apron enough, like halfway, and keep the door open. If it's gonna be that far into the summer.
let's see what the chief says is the best course of action for them. And we have to let them give us some guidance on that, I think. Even though we're both firefighters, we have to let it to their best
No,
guess.
absolutely.
Okay, that's it, nothing further, okay. But please, at some point, talk to the chief and see how we can see what equipment that's coming off of a
Right,
truck.
but it's up to him if he wants to get rid of it.
Absolutely, I'm not saying he has to.
And I don't think there's anything in that procurement policy which states
Maybe I stated,
Yeah.
said the wrong policy, but there was a disposition or
about selling.
of stuff
do
of our equipment,
excess
excess
equipment,
equipment. So if there's anything that he would like to get rid of, let's see if we can work that angle before it gets critical and they're coming through the wall over there. Okay, Commissioner Zezzi.
We already talked about a lot of things. So we talked about the circulator pump, it's $4,000. Pleasantville Glass came, we have a broken window in the kitchen, they measured, just waiting to set up a date. I need the price on that. That's going to be an essential repair. We did get 2 digital clocks for the upper and lower bay. We took out these clocks because, as you can see, the cardboard in the back, the paper just falls off after a while. Plus I wasn't gonna climb up 19 or 20 feet anymore to change the batteries.
Good deal.
So
So are they electric, plug in the wall?
they're batteries.
Okay.
They're batteries, no more. And we lowered the one in the lower bay. I just wanna let everybody know, the kitchen is,
I thought they were digital because nobody knows how to read those.
well, that too,
anymore.
but I didn't wanna say that. So, and it even has the day on there too. I just want to let you all know the kitchen is being used and the members really do like it. We do have a chef up there now that's really nicely making food for members.
And Jose made
Yep.
us dinner last night.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Charlie and I did talk about it. Some of the equipment up there is really old. So we're gonna start cleaning it out along with the spices that are probably 20 years old. So we're gonna do that on Friday.
May I just interject here real quick?
Yeah.
There was, and I hope it's still up there, a professional grade globe slicing machine.
It
Is that
is
still up
there.
there?
It's
Okay.
there.
Let's protect that because
Yes.
it's thousands. of
No,
dollars.
that's a lot of
It
money.
is,
Yeah.
and it's a big one. It is there still. We're just talking about the old pots and pans and stuff. So Deb from Air Deb, the exhaust system, was supposed to meet with us this month to talk about adding to the system, the existing system. She had an emergency and would like to come here in February. So what's the board's preference? To meet with her before the February meeting? I think we need everybody's input, just not Charlie and myself.
Mhm.
What would you like to do? And this is also tentative because she has some things going on
And I'm
personally.
sure she's got other
And that's
places to visit too.
right, so she has something
She's
personal
coming
going
from
on,
Buffalo.
and so it's also weather.
Yeah. I think what we ought to do is ask her to pick a date and we'll try and accommodate that, but we
Okay.
can give her our normal OACM meetings
Mhm,
and our regular meeting dates
okay,
and see if she can accommodate that. The one thing that she told me, which I was flabbergasted, she comes down here, she drives down from Buffalo
right,
and drives back the same day.
right.
Oh my God. I said,
She's
there's
a
an airport
go-getter,
right down the
that's for
street. And she said, no, I like
No,
driving.
Yeah, she does.
Fine.
Um,
But, so, if we can accommodate her, as long as it works with her schedule to procure what she eventually wants to sell us, install for us. If we can get her to come towards the end of February, where the weather's sometimes better. I
Okay,
don't know,
I'll
it's up
speak to her
up
again, yeah.
sure.
Also, you did mention the mechanics room. I just wanted to mention it because we did speak with John and Reddy today.
Yeah.
That room, I mean, we did the second floor, Charlie and I, and a couple of firefighters. That's basically cleaned out. So it's really the first floor. We had the dumpster here, so I don't know what you
That
want
was
to
a
do with
while
that.
back.
It was,
Okay.
because the bottom room there was not touched. So they did say September, not September, the
Okay.
summer,
I said August to me.
August, so just even every month if something's
Yeah.
moved out of there.
Well, I'm hoping whoever buys the utility will be kind enough to take the center consoles. Because we have 3 of them there for
Right.
different chief's cars and we're not going to use them.
There's so many other things in there,
Oh,
so,
tons of stuff.
we are putting some supplies over here that are used a lot. That's just, what is that? Personal protective, the
PPE.
paper gowns and stuff. There are some others on the vehicles. So we put that there because they're light.
I forgot to mention, we got that secured to the wall.
Yes, last month we said that.
So on that topic, would it make sense, or is it appropriate even, for us to buy those combination locks so that they are all locked, but they have an override key if somebody forgets how to get into it? There's a key that goes in the back, like we had at high school. Would it make sense for us, or just let everybody supply their own lock?
Well, I would, at this point, let's see how it goes, because no one has asked to use them yet. Charlie and I are gonna go to the department meeting on Thursday, first Thursday in February, give an update as to the project, and we can mention it.
Good.
Because the more firefighters that know about it, the more they'll use it, I
Mhm.
think. Plus
And
they
this
need to get in here.
This store is kept locked, so.
right.
I don't
So-
see when, if, you do last man out, close the door,
Yeah.
and then only, I think the chiefs have the key to get in,
Right,
so.
so we'll work on that, but we'll let them know, that it's in here and what the purpose is.
Yeah, work with the chief on that, because he may want to let them know and get them spun up on the concept,
Right,
and then
right,
you can
we'll talk to them.
reinforce it.
Mhm. Medicals, physicals, that's all set, we're good to go on that. Legal, the Mount Pleasant Fire Protection contract's up, Mike, so we'll have to do that. We already have the hydrant rates, for the next couple of years, so we know what that's gonna cost. There may be some additional roads, so we may have some things to work out on that.
What are we paying per hydrant in their district?
I think right now it's, I wanna say it's 120, something like that.
So if there was a new road, it's probably gonna have 5 hydrants on it.
Right, but we have to make sure it's in our
Yeah,
district,
yeah,
so,
of course.
so we'll, I've been in contact with Noreen on that. Insurance, so we are all up to date with that, all the new paperwork for 2025, I've submitted it. We do have one member who's eligible for LoSAP in March. So whoever's getting the mail, Christine, whoever, his paperwork is in the mail back to us. He doesn't live in the area anymore. So, he signed everything and he's mailing it back, so we should have it this week. Next Thursday, the New York State Insurance Fund's coming here again to go through the building, check on some other, areas that we can.
What are they mostly looking for? Paperwork or? just,
Workers' comp
problems?
issues, yeah, workers'
Like
comp
Safety
issues.
issues, slip and
Yes,
trip, fall?
Yep, so we're gonna do the back stairway and upstairs.
Okay.
Okay, and the reps will also discuss the administrative access, so we can start setting up classes for the staff and the commissioners.
Hmm.
And we can take a look at them, we should have some type of training, we talked about this, all online. And they recommend it as well.
Talking about slip, trip and fall stuff, I only remember seeing one of those little A-frame stanchions indicating that there's a wet floor here. Do we have more than one, or should we buy 2 or 3 more just to?
I don't
Because when
know.
we washed the truck, the entire place was still.
There's only one out in the bay.
I only saw one a couple weeks ago, so
Okay.
maybe we need 1 more or something, 2 more.
Something, we'll talk to the chiefs, because they may have them somewhere.
I didn't go looking for it, so I don't know.
Yeah, so, and the department liaisons, as I just mentioned, we are getting very positive feedback with that. We go out and talk to the firefighters on Thursdays, and we will keep them up to date on the project.
As much as we can.
Yes, they are asking, they do have inquiring minds, so they are asking. And that's what I have for that.
Hey, brother,
And usually our answer is, if you wanna know about the project, go look out the window.
Yeah, but we want to keep them, as well informed as we
I
can.
missed that.
Which Eddie and Reddy and John were upstairs with us today, and they took a couple of pictures out the windows.
So that's for you.
I think, was it 2 weeks ago? Reddy had a couple of drone photographs from over the site, which I
Oh,
thought was
did he?
kind of,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
it was good, very nice. I don't know who was flying the drone, but it was nice to see. Anything further, Nancy?
No, I'm done with that.
Very good. All right, old business, district policies discussion. So just to kick it off, I went through the 5 on the website that were there that I was assigned to read, and where did I put them? They're in the policy book. Yeah. Anyway, I went through them. I found a couple of things I'd like to talk to, I guess Nancy about that. Like, for example, code of ethics. I'm a little unsure of section G, last page, or last line in section G. It says, for purposes herein, with the exception of the chief and assistant chiefs, all line officers of the Chappaqua Volunteer Fire Department shall be considered members of the fire district fire department. So I'm a little unsure why there's an exception of the chief and assistant chiefs primarily. I don't quite understand that. Maybe it's pointing right in my face and I don't get it.
This is the one, it's already been approved. This was a recent one.
Yeah, but this is the 2025 review of those.
Yes.
So I think we should,
We should
at
talk
some
about
point,
it.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
and then get it done before March,
Yeah,
I would say.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have a question on section D,
Mhm.
what was it? 5D and 7D and 9E. So I have a couple of questions here that and that's just this one. For example, on Newcastle data breach policy, spelling, no big deal.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it's nothing, it's
Christine
nothing.
can fix
Yeah.
that one.
Another one. Grammar, no big
Yeah.
deal, anybody can do that. There was something here on emergency vehicle response operating guidelines, section 2, first sentence, and there was an asterisk, but I didn't find the asterisk. I didn't see it here on first glance, and then I found it at the very end after I got through reading the entire thing. It's on the very, very last page. I was kind of thinking it might be down at the footer here someplace, whatever. And then there's a section in 5, intersection practices. It says, drivers are required to practice the organization's intersection operating guidelines. I'm just wondering, where is that defined? Do we have that? And we can discuss this down the road.
Yes, and
Okay.
Paul, I think Paul took a look at that one, and you would know better, and Charlie, about the driving. What do you do with those intersections?
Well, I think that should be
Spelled out.
spelled out someplace,
Right.
whether it's here or rules and regs or whatever
Right.
you want to put it. I don't
Right.
care. A word that I think might be excess someplace. For example, we have a piece of apparatus that didn't come with seatbelts. So if installed, might be an appropriate thing. I don't know if we want to insist on it or not. And then there's a sentence here in section 8, riding policy. It says personnel who perform emergency medical care while the vehicle is in motion, and we don't generally. So I don't know if it's even appropriate to leave in or not.
A lot of these that came from Mike Legori had the medical.
I remember, yeah. So that's just my comments on those. I think at some point, if we have a work session, it probably would make sense to discuss some of these things. Others may have,
Yeah, so if you send out what you have for
I can do
each,
that. Sure.
then we could take a look at it and maybe next month or just get them going.
Yeah, I have no problem. Anybody else have any questions or comments on the 5 that they were kind of assigned to look at?
You all agree?
Okay, I think,
And-
other than
and-
my questions, I have no other problems, and there's nothing substantive here, really.
And, excuse me, you have the record retention one, right? That was in yours?
I thought I did the
Or
5,
maybe
the
you
second
have it.
5.
Did you have record retention in yours?
Record retention, yeah, I think so.
Okay, because that was done in 2015, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We need to go through that one again, because that's an old one, and things have changed.
I didn't really want to call it out just now because I think we'll get to it eventually, but for example, here's, this one can be updated, for example, the Newcastle regulations for use of district owned chiefs. It can be updated because right now it's effective July 1, 2024. So it can be updated as of
As of whenever,
January,
February, whatever. we do
February,
it, right.
we revisit this.
But the record retention one I know is old. So
There,
we
yeah,
should-
there's a couple of them here that are 2023. Yeah.
Right, so if they're good, like after we make those, talk about those, discuss them, then, yeah, then we could make it so they're all 2025.
Yeah, and some of these, I don't know. I don't know if all of these require an adoption line and date and so on. I don't
No, I
know.
just think it should show, some of them, it's because of the way they were written.
Yeah,
We could show that it was updated in 2025.
I think it makes sense.
Right.
There's a couple of them that are, that
So-
probably can use.
So I did the video conferencing one, which is actually incomplete. It's an actual resolution, it's not a policy, and there's no dates in it. So that was probably done at some point, so we should discuss that as to when we want to make it effective, and if we want to make it a policy or keep it a resolution. That was probably done or maybe around COVID, I would say, and it wasn't complete. So that's just, if everybody could take a look at that one.
The video,
The
Video
district
conferencing?
meetings using video conferencing. It's actually incomplete, but it's up on the site. And then I did all the others underneath it, and they're fine. Some of them are very short. The social media policy, operational plan for public health and emergencies, property disposal. Actually, that's one that you might want to look
Yeah.
at.
yeah, I knew it
Okay.
was in there, I just
Yeah.
didn't remember.
So
the
that
reference.
policy, the secretary policy, smoking and vaping, travel, treasurers, turnout gear policy, vehicle accident, and the whistleblower policy. Now, the one question I do have is the smoking and vaping policy. Should we install signs for that if we don't use it? If we have it here and nobody should be smoking within 50 feet or vaping on property?
10, 15 years ago, this, I think the entire firehouse was declared a no smoking area. I don't know if that's continued over the years. I guess it's up to us to make that call. I do know that some of the smokers in the department now
Mhm.
are kind enough to go outside. So that's a nice of them to do.
But isn't it part of a town ordinance too, that you can't smoke?
Maybe that's something we have to.
Well, I think it is 50 feet
Yeah.
from the building.
I
Right,
think
it's
it
50
covers-
feet from the
I think
building.
the town ordinance covers
Right.
it.
So my question is, I know the smokers know that, but should we put some type of signage up?
There was one under the rear corner of the building outside, near where the compressor is, for the Scott air packs. It was on the outside of the building. It said something about no smoking within this distance.
Mhm.
50 feet sounds a little excessive, but if we have to abide by a town law, then we have to do it.
Yeah, that's in the
I thought it was
policy.
50.
And they had one of those ashtray
Yeah.
things, right? That
Mhm.
was like, that's all or
That's
whatever.
the one in
And
the
they
back,
moved it to the
right?
opposite corner of the
Right.
parking
It's
lot.
whether they just smoke inside.
Okay, so why don't we look in and see what the town requires us to do?
I'll look into that with the town,
Okay,
because we can, even if they say it's like 15, we can always say,
yeah,
I mean,
ours,
that's the
ours,
minimum.
yeah, ours says 50. I believe it's 50.
How about
So-
something along the lines 15 feet from any door or open window or something like that, so it's not gonna waft
I
back
think
in.
it's coded building, but
Okay.
Yeah. So just, so those are all fine with the exception of the video conferencing one. It's
And the
incomplete.
smoking.
Well,
issue.
the smoking is just, should we put signage up?
I think so.
Okay,
I mean, as long as, I guess we can bring it out to the department because none of us, I think, here in this room smoke, so it's not really impacting us, but it probably would make sense to go to the members and say, this is what we want to do and see how.
well, they all had copies of
I
it.
understand.
I think there's only one member that smokes.
Yeah, I just, here at least. And I don't, it's the law.
And
So-
smoking should include vaping.
It is,
Yeah.
it's smoking and
Yeah, yeah,
vaping, yeah. Smoking and vaping. So.
Okay.
um,
So do we want to, at the next OACM meeting, would it make sense for us to have the remainder of the evening dedicated to our policies and review? Is that too long to wait until the early
Well-
second week of February?
I
Or do
mean,
we want to have
the pregnancy and maternity leave policy, that's a fairly simple one. That has been distributed, it was distributed a while back, and we were ready to go, I think, 2 months ago, but Ed hadn't read it yet. So are we good with it? Can we get that one moving? And also, the workplace violence policy has been reviewed by our insurance company, and Mike Legori had a couple of things in there.
Well, this is the one that you put red lines on.
Yes, that's one red line in there, and I just wanted to make sure that it is in compliance with, if we have a firearms policy, that those two things,
yeah, I worked on that.
yeah,
But
that they work.
we all agreed that what we said previously is gonna be allowed.
Okay,
Uh, So things have to change in this policy. I don't know if you have a copy of it.
in the firearms policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a copy.
I didn't make copies, I just,
Well,
Make some
is
corrections.
the one you're looking at on the web?
so the one I have now is just a draft copy that I guess Mike Legori gave us,
Yes,
but
Yeah, I was
I
questioning.
just
the
made
wording there.
a couple of changes to it. But I think we all agreed that, I mean, the draft he came up with was they were forbidden on department property or town, district property. And I think we all were in agreement, whoever's legally allowed to carry is gonna be allowed to carry on the by
Within
district
the-
property.
Within the restrictions of their permit.
Well, yeah, so
Yeah.
I reworded the policy. It's just a couple of changes, the way the draft was written up. I just Xed out the not allowed to, under A, B, and C circumstances, allowed to.
okay,
And then the rest of the policy is good.
and they have to have it secured in their vehicle if they're not carrying? Or did you
Well, if
address that, or?
yeah, on
Okay.
fire scene.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah,
So can you send that to all of us with the lines that you want removed?
yeah,
and the
I'll
additions you want added?
retype this up and,
Send
I'll
it to us.
send it.
All right, so that brings us to the question again, do we want to have a meeting this month to discuss the policy so we can get this off our plate for next month? Would
Yes,
it make sense?
yes.
Does anybody have a preferred time if we were to do another meeting this month? I mean, today is the 15th, right? So we've got 2 weeks left of the year, of the month. Does somebody want to make a suggestion?
Let's see,
And I think Katie, this is one you can avoid meeting with us on that.
Great.
So
To-
unless there's
and-
something we're talking about the treasurer, which I doubt.
I mean,
think we already did that.
procurement and credit card, I don't know if you wanna.
Well, the other thing is the procurement policy, because the one on the site, I think, is from 2015. And I thought we did it, because we.
yeah, I think we did. I think we were gonna change monetary values on it,
Right,
but I
that
looked
was
at
what
it
we were looking
again,
at,
but I think it's still good.
All right, so
Okay.
it's even more important that we have something
Right.
this month.
because that
So-
one allowed for piggybacking, use of core craft, things
Right,
like
that
that.
we're gonna take out.
That
Not-
we're gonna
not-
leave in.
oh, leave in.
Yeah, because then you can use multiple, you could piggyback
Yeah.
on the town's purchasing
We
if
bought
they're
the last
buying
Chiefs car that
something.
way.
Yes,
It was
Right,
good.
right,
yeah,
okay.
so that, the old policy really needs to go, so, the new one allows for more, options to purchase things, because the quotes have already been, gotten by somebody else. So the ones that we have left, I believe, are the firearms policy. We still have the workplace violence one, which I can amend, based upon that policy. The procurement policy, and then do we want to approve the pregnancy and maternity leave policy now?
That we can do.
Yeah, that one we could do and get that moving. Does that sound good to
Okay,
everybody?
I'm okay with it. I read
How
it
about the
a
29th of
weeks ago.
January to Wednesday?
Let me
Wednesday?
just
Okay.
continue my thought here. Hang on 1 second. So I read it, the pregnancy policy, I read it about, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that. A month and a half ago, I had nothing to say towards it. I had no questions or concerns. Does anybody have any questions or concern on that one? Can we vote on it tonight? I would like to hear a motion to approve it as in its most current form. If we can get a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to approve the Newcastle Fire District #1 pregnancy and maternity leave policy.
Okay, and do we get a? do
I'll
we have a
second that.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of approving the pregnancy and maternity leave policy as
Distributed.
distributed recently, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you.
Why don't we say today's date, January 15th,
15th,
and this
sure.
way it's good for 2025, doesn't have to be reviewed. Okay, thank you. I'll get that too.
Now, are there policies that are pending being sent to the membership or pending being sent to the chief or pending being sent to the lawyer?
I did email Christine, I didn't hear back. There were 2 policies. They're not in the list on that website. They're the substance abuse policy and the exposure prevention and decon policy. They were approved last month. I don't know whether or not they went to the chief.
Okay, so who sends them to chief generally, you or she?
I didn't send them.
Who
um,
normally sends the other ones?
Well, I know Christine and Paul were talking about having 2 packets sent out, so I'm not sure.
Do you
but
have the most current one that we've
I
approved?
I do. I
All
have
right.
both of
Will you
those,
do me a
so,
favor and send it to Christine, send it to Paul, and ask Paul to disseminate it to the members,
okay,
and Christine to put it on the website?
right. Okay. Okay,
Okay,
and I just want, to make sure that they're all uniform, I'm gonna have all the policies that have new over here, ask for that to be removed. Because there are policies here.
and I would like 2 things I would like to see. I would like to see like a line here that says adopted on such and such a date. I'd like to see pagination or page 1, page 2, page
Okay.
3. That's just me. I'd like,
No, that's fine, I
because
think that makes
when
sense.
when you print them and they're printing, you have 4 policies you're printing, now you have to kind of,
Well, they could have footers, they have the name of
Exactly,
the
that's it.
policy and when it was adopted.
I don't care how it
pages.
appears, but I'd like to have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the policies, because some of them are 6, 9 pages long.
Right,
Okay, so we approved the pregnancy policy, maternity policy.
thank you.
All right, do we have anything else, Nancy?
Policy wise, no.
Okay. Old business, we just discussed the policies. Anybody else have any business they want to discuss? Project update, I think we discussed it. Anybody have any questions? Anyone?
No, I just think we
more
need to
comments?
really be on
ready.
point about the permits being in hand before any work is done. I know Paul is very concerned about the workers parking on Memorial Drive, and they're parking right on the corner where it says no parking. That's really, that's not up to us. If somebody's gonna park where it says no parking,
Wait, who's
it's on that.
parking there?
some of the construction workers are parking on Elm, which they shouldn't be. They've been asked not to park there for the, just to be good neighbors for the people that live there. And Westchester Tree Life parks there anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say,
less-
what's just a tree line?
Less traffic,
Well,
but
if,
over on Memorial.
if Westchester's doing it and they're not getting tickets, I mean, I don't know how we can police them except asking Reddy to remind them it's not the
And he
appropriate
is.
place. I
He
know,
is.
I've dealt with him on multiple issues like
Right.
this. One issue we had where somebody was parked someplace and they shouldn't have been, turned out it was an inspector from, I forget, the Tectonic, it's inspector from Tectonic. And Paul noted that, he brought it to Reddy's attention. It turned out it was a guy that's here not very frequently, so it was not a big deal. He didn't know the rules. So I guess Reddy's on it when he's aware of it, and Paul and people reach out to Reddy all the time to ask him to get those guys to move those
Mhm.
appropriate. All right, last item, new business. I don't know if we approved this or not, or if we voted on this, but the item is to authorize the chairman to execute the agreement with JMC Planning, Engineering, Architecture, and Land Surveying LLC. I think we approved it at our last meeting, did we not? For me to sign,
We discussed it in executive session.
and I think we approved it.
In
Or
there,
we
but-
can't vote on it then.
Right.
That's right, okay. All right, so does anybody need a refresher on what we are doing on this JMC contract renewal?
I
Okay,
do,
okay.
I do, just
So
brief synopsis.
basically, Katie, jump in if I say something wrong. Basically, he's been working without a contract for a while, and his contract has enlarged because the scope of his work has enlarged. And it looks like he wanted $200,000+ but we've already paid him and his company $147,000 or 100 and something thousand. Plus there was some other monies I think that we were paying. So it's really like 180,000 that we are going to be encumbering.
It went
pay
from like 145 to 289.
Yeah,
So
so there was a jump in there.
we doubled,
Right.
he doubled his.
And he'd
budget.
already been paid over the contract amount,
No,
no?
that's how this whole issue came up.
Okay,
Because his contract had
But-
expired.
Well, not even his contract, the budget, he was pushing up against the budget ceiling in his line item. And I was like, hey, y'all, we're kind of early in the project. And so that's how it all,
okay,
And this contract,
Came to light.
this request for additional funds carries us until when about?
until the project is
So-
over.
And that's what
That's
he's,
to the end
that's
of
in the contract, and I know Lynn
You know,
agreed
I
to it.
did not read it with a fine tooth comb. That's why we have Lynn.
Yeah.
in my
Right.
I know she
opinion, So
approved
I didn't, I couldn't speak to that.
She made a comment, and I think there was something about a rider or something, and Joe eventually came back with the appropriate rider, and she's now happy about this revision. So we discussed it in executive session, and I think we all agreed at that time that this was an appropriate increase that we have available funds to cover.
Right.
So does anybody have any questions about this before we go to a vote?
no, I'm glad you explained it, because this way it's on the record and we know why we're
Okay.
asking for
Makes
more
sense.
money.
All right, I would like to get a motion to approve the latest JMC architecture and engineering and planning land surveying LLC contract.
I'll make a motion to approve that. I believe the date is January 10th, 2025.
Okay, that's the expiration date?
Oh,
Well, that's when it's coming in.
Date of the revision.
yeah,
I'll
Okay.
second that motion.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All
We
those
do
opposed?
have the money, correct? I'm just getting concerned that
Well.
we're early
I-
on and the money's getting tight
I
already.
want to point out something that I heard from the auditors today. That premium I've been so excited about and the interest that we earn,
Mhm,
in theory, we are supposed to use that for debt service.
right,
So we're gonna run right up, we're gonna run over budget at this rate. Now, that being said, money is fungible, right? So we've already budgeted to pay for the debt service in 2025. If we don't use that, then in theory, we can move it to the H fund, you know?
It's just a matter of bookkeeping this $100 bill to this line item and that $100 bill to this line item.
Correct.
It's, money is money, and no matter which line item it's on, it's still money.
And also, I agree with Nancy, I think we need to try to get our reins on, you know, pull the
Right.
reins in a little, but
exactly. We can't keep saying yes, yes, yes. I mean, 30,000 here, 30, no. We need to know why, and it goes back to my question, where are the contracts? Now, I did send an email, I did not get a response. So I want to know where these executed contracts are. And, because we need to know what's included in those contracts, what we're responsible for. The Con Ed bill for the trailer, for example, that wasn't budgeted for, and we're up $500 a month. What is that?
oh, you mean
For
the,
the
yeah, I
trailer?
think it's oh, is that the lot? Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Other meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's
$500
$500 a month
Yeah.
that was not budgeted for. So these little things start to add up fast.
And the way I look at it, that is a thing that we didn't foresee coming because we didn't think about it.
No, and the
We-
$13,000 Con Ed
Yeah,
pad,
yeah,
I mean,
And the transformer.
how could
Right.
you can't
So-
predict these
so-
things, but
But they're adding up very quickly,
yeah.
and we're digging into that money, and, we're not gonna have a lot. So this was what precipitated it, is because these little things started coming up, and I wanted to say, okay, who's responsible for what? There's nothing to go back and look at, okay? So I asked Christine, I did not get an answer. So I went to Lynn, and Lynn said, you know what, go to the state. So I went to the state, and they came back with some very good answers. And then I went to Mike Legori, and I said, Mike, what do we do? Do we need to have these documents in hand in the office? Mike said, yes. Okay, you need to have them because it's a huge project. You need to have all these documents in the office. Then you can scan them with a backup. So that's the answer. Okay, all the documents related to, I sent that to you.
Yeah.
All the documents related to 495/491 correspondence, the contracts, definitely. Anything should be in this office, and then you can scan them. Right now, there's nothing to look at. So I'm gonna ask
well,
that
doesn't Lynn have them?
we need them in our office.
That's fine, so all she needs to do is email them to us and we print them.
Right, so Christine should be keeping these records, is what I'm saying,
Got
is they have to be in there. We should have any correspondence relating to the project, Oak Lane, Mr. Carlock, whoever. There should be files in there, so we have something to go back on.
Well,
So
on
that's
that
the
note
answer.
too, we need more space.
So here's my thing. I've been thinking about this because I know we're running out of room. I'd already talked to Paul, the personnel records. I'm gonna ask the board for permission to buy another file cabinet and put it in the chief's office, a locking file cabinet. So I can go up there. All the member information will be up there. That will free up this lateral over here. So the records can go over there. And I know a lot of things come via email. Christine is copied on that. She is the records officer. So we're gonna have to start filling that cabinet up. They have to be there for our protection.
I'm not arguing one little bit, but where would that cabinet go upstairs?
Paul said we'd work on it. Okay,
I know there's a cabinet as you walk in the door, like right in front of you. But then there's a small cabinet on
It
the
is
other
pretty
side.
tight up
It's
it is,
real
but
tight.
you know what? We'll make it work. So.
But you know
so-
what, where the room where the server is needs to be cleaned up a
We
lot.
could put it in
Big
there.
time,
Yeah.
Big time, absolutely.
So
put it
if
in
we
there.
could get that organized, because right now there's just
Junk.
wires all over the place. And people were pulling stuff out and leaving the wires there. I bet you more than half of that stuff can
Right.
go away.
As an
So-
example, there's UHF, I'm sorry, low band VHF pagers in there. There's a box full of
Yeah.
them. That's just a simple example of stuff that's antiquated and can be gotten
Yeah.
rid of. And that will make at least some floor space for a vertical cabinet or a lateral
Yeah,
cabinet.
we'll
And
do-
by the way, I don't think these two black ones here are doing too awful much for us. So if both of them would fit upstairs and a door or something on
Actually,
top.
I filled them up with, that bottom drawer was overflowing.
uh,
And I wanted this desk cleaned off, so I moved some of those truck books, which also maybe could just be thrown
Yeah, that
away.
bottom
Well,
cabinet.
I'll have to go through
Yeah.
that then.
Yeah, so I put them all in there and I cleared out a file for 2025
Okay.
here.
All right, so these are not really
So,
available. Okay.
I'll make room over there because these records, according to the state and Mike Legori, they have to be in the office. And in connection with that, in speaking with the state, but also, I ask this every month, the meeting minutes must be produced by law within 2 weeks of this meeting. Okay, so our meeting today, the meeting minutes, general municipal law, they must be produced within 2 weeks. That's the law. Okay, executive session or other types of meetings, there's a whole schedule. Those meeting minute productions are different. It could be a week, it could be something different. But our meeting minutes must be produced within 2 weeks of the meeting, period. It's the law, it's actually in the job description. So again, the board has a responsibility. We need to comply with the law. So I've
What
I've
is
said it
the-
every month.
What is the last meeting minutes that were not posted? We just approved minutes, but the draft.
The draft has to be up.
Okay, but the draft for the last meeting, it hasn't been 2 weeks since our last meeting, so that can't.
The
have-
December meeting. The
The
December
December, okay,
meeting,
fine, we'll
yeah.
pick the December meeting.
Right.
Has that been posted on the web yet?
I think it was just posted Monday or whenever we got them, it was posted. But that's what I'm saying, within 2 weeks of the meeting, it must be posted in draft form. It's not gonna be approved, it's the law.
Yeah, I understand the draft has to be posted.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're up there for everyone to view and see, et cetera. And we have to comply with the law. So, that's just the way it is.
So how much space do you need, going back to that space up in the Chiefs room, how much space, what
I'm
kind of a
gonna-
cotton size are you gonna need?
I think maybe a 3 drawer lateral, but I'll work with
Oh,
Paul on
lateral?
it. Because in there, all the historical records for all the members from the beginning,
Mhm.
they have to go up there. The current member and the historical documents. So I'll pull all of that out of there and I'll find a place to put it, locking in his office, et cetera. He said we could work together on that and find a place to put it. So that'll free up that space in the office.
Yeah, I think Charlie's idea is right, that inner room, I think, is the place to put it, if you can
Yeah.
find a place, and hopefully they deliver for free.
Oh, yeah, we'll still
That's-
find
that's
something. So
We don't
that's what I
have
have
to, we
to
don't have to
say.
get an engineer to certify the floors. Okay. All right. So we have voted and approved on the signature for JMC Plan and Engineering, Architecture and Land Surveying. Okay. Do we have any public comments, Katie? Is there anybody on Zoom that wants to say anything to us?
I don't see
Okay.
anybody.
All right. Future dates. A project special meeting will be held on February 10, 2025 at 6 p.m. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 19th.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it should be Wednesday.
That's an error. Okay, thank you for
What
catching
what
that.
date is that again?
It is February
19th.
19th.
Yeah,
though.
Wednesday.
Yeah, February 19th, okay. But we're gonna try to have one.
Okay, what date was, well, let me just finish this and
Oh,
then we'll add this again. Scheduled for the Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Email any questions and concerns for the board's consideration for any meeting to BOFC@NCFD, the numeral 1.org. Okay, so did we pick a time date when we want to have a meeting to talk about policy? Would it be before the OACM meeting next month, or do we want to do something this month? Did somebody propose a date?
I would like to get it done this month. Did you say the 22nd?
29th,
29th?
Wednesday.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday, the 29th. For discussion on the policies.
Can we do that early or 5:30?
Yeah, that's fine. Is that good with everybody else?
Sure.
5:30, yeah.
Is that all right?
What date is it?
5:30 on the
29th.
29th.
29th. Okay. All right, everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay,
and-
so the next meeting for policy discussions will be on the 29th of January, 2025, and primarily it will be policy discussion. The meeting will be called to order at 17:30 or 5:30 PM. Anybody have anything else for this meeting before we call for
So
an
you
adjournment?
just send your questions
I will.
out or comments
I'm gonna send
about
to the
yours,
board.
and then you'll send your firearms out, so I can, I'll just amend the workplace violence with Mike's.
Okay.
After I see his,
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, CR
Second.
and EF, okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, you can stay here and talk to yourself. Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Katie.